Well, you remember yesterday the Court of Appeal refused to postpone the ending of the life support systems for the 12-year-old beyond midday today. That's despite the urgent request from the United Nations. Well, our London reporter joins us now outside the Supreme Court. Alice, it seems that yet again this is the lawyers and the judges deciding rather than the doctors.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gone down to the wire yet again. I mean, initially it was going to be yesterday at 2 o'clock that Archie Battersbee's life machine was going to be switched off. That was extended until midday today because there was a hearing yesterday at the Court of Appeal. And that all came about because we had this very sort of dramatic last-minute intervention from the United Nations, from the Committee for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And they had put a request forward to the British government urging them to postpone removing the life support treatment until they had considered the case. Now, the government then referred the case to the Court of Appeal, but as you were just saying there, yesterday they rejected that and said that not only did they reject it, they also refused permission for the parents of Archie Battersbee to appeal to the Supreme Court, the UK's highest court. However, as we understand it, they will still be applying to the Supreme Court today to try and appeal the decision that and the potential postponement to their son's life support machine, which currently stands of being switched off at midday today.
For the Battersbee family, and our hearts go out to them, of course. If they are unsuccessful at the Supreme Court, then all legal avenues, I presume, Alice, will have been exhausted at this point, and the doctor's advice will be followed, and that is, as you say, midday today, that life support machine would be switched off.
I think it's I think they have explored so many different legal avenues over the last few months. It's come to the High Court twice. It's gone now to the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court last week refused to intervene. So it'll be interesting to see if they do intervene now that we've had this request from the United Nations. I mean, the only sort of possible avenue the family could explore is the European Court of Human Rights. But as I understand, they didn't want to go down that route because it was they were told it would be most likely that it would be refused outright because of similarities. So, for example, in the case with Charlie Guards, that's why they didn't go down the sort of Strasbourg route and they kept it very much within the UK. But yes, I think if there is no hearing today and the Supreme Court rejects their opportunity to appeal, then very sadly for the family, it looks like they've exhausted all possible avenues. And sadly, doctors would be legally well within their rights to switch off the life support machine in midday today, which of course would be devastating for the family who've campaigned so hard on this for a number of months, on an incredibly difficult situation that I'm sure would be any parent's worst nightmare. And I think that's important to stress that when we've been talking about this, there's been so many twists and turns and legal obstacles, and it's easy to get kind of bogged down in that. But really at the heart of this is a very, very ill young boy and a family who've been fighting for what they believe is right. And of course they're at the hospital fighting to do what they believe is right. And it's an incredibly difficult situation, which has been said by all the judges involved.
Yeah. Alice, are we likely to hear any more from the doctors or the hospital? Because clearly Mum Holly indicated that the letter they got from the health authority on Saturday, I think she used the words, they were talking about what she termed an orchestrated execution.
We're not expecting to hear anything more from the hospital beyond. We did hear a statement from Barts Health NHS Trust, which of course have sort of reiterated how sorry they are about what's happened, and they'll wait to see the results of the Supreme Court. But I think crucially, I mean, doctors have given extensive evidence. As I said, it's gone to the High Court twice. There has been, I've heard a lot of testimonies from doctors there, so I don't think there's any new information we'll necessarily be hearing from doctors.
Yeah.
But as you said, the reference there, the letter that Holly Dance has received was very much a sort of bullet point looking at the way in which effectively medication, the ventilator, all of that will be removed, which is very much not what the family wants. And I think that sort of orchestrated effort was exactly what she didn't want. She's always campaigned that she wants her son to die in a way that is, quote, natural, i.e. not done in a way that there's a specific time given of which everything is to be removed. Although I think it's important to stress on behalf of the hospital, one of the reasons that they are doing this is because they don't want him to die in a way that is, quote, chaotic, i.e., the judge yesterday was saying, he could have organ failure at any minute, he could go into cardiac arrest, there would suddenly be a crash team. That is the kind of chaos that they are keen to avoid. So while it may sound incredibly heartless hearing this midday today that his life support machine will be switched off, there have been a number of steps that the hospital has taken, and I do believe in many respects they are trying to do this in a way that is as peaceful to him as possible. The problem is that's not what the family wants, and so it's of course not something that's peaceful for them at all, far from it. They say it's an incredibly anxious situation for them.
Yeah, Alice, it was that quote you gave yesterday that doctors were concerned all of this was protracting Archie's death rather than prolonging his life.